Welcome to our video. In this opportunity, we will be learning about the functionality of our Chile localization for Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central, which comprises a series of functionalities that complement the basic standard. The basic standard ERP functionality. In this case, we will start with what is the validation point of the check digit for the registration of our customers and suppliers. We are going to go to the record of one of our suppliers. If we consult within the suppliers file in the invoicing section, since we have included a RUT field in which the supplier's number of the unique tax registration that has our supplier or our associated client has, and the system will be in charge of making the corresponding validation for that record. If we go to one of our customers, in this case we are going to choose this customer who has not been informed. We see that we have the same field in this customer that has not been informed. We see that we have the same field in the section, and we will proceed to type your RUT. In this case, when typing the corresponding string, it indicates that the validation result is that the RUT is not valid. In this case, we will have to confirm or verify what it corresponds to. When we make the corresponding validation or correction in this case, it lets us process the record and tells us that the information or the update of the record has been done correctly. Then it lets us continue. Another of the functionalities after what has to do with taxes itself is to include those taxes that are complementary to the VAT that are handled for certain industries or specific sectors. In this case, we have an example product, flour, in which if we go to the costs and registration section, we can see that we have the corresponding VAT accounting group. It will perform the calculation according to the reported rate. And in the same way, we have added what would be the additional tax in a drop-down field in which you can select the corresponding tax. If we see it already within what would be the behavior within a sales document, because here we already have a sale previously loaded, we are going to assign the item, in this case flour, and we can notice how associated to this same item, it brings us the VAT information and the additional tax to be calculated. We are going to register our transaction and proceed to consult the accounting effects that the same document has had. If we look at it within our statistics, we can see here the two lines of associated taxes, in this case the additional tax and the tax, VAT tax. And if we see it already in our accounting movements, we will see that here from the VAT movement, we see informed two lines that correspond to, in this case, we are going to see all of them. The recognition of the sale made, the VAT associated with the transaction, and the VAT complementary tax that was calculated in relation to the item that we just generated. And, well, this line corresponds to the account receivable, the recognition of the account receivable. Another of within the sales and purchase documents, we also have included the generation of debit notes, which visually have the same characteristic of a document, of an invoice. Characteristic of a document, of an invoice as such. But it will differ in that in the header of the document we will find the corresponding name that would be debit notes, either in purchase or in sale. Therefore, we will have the information also in our histories for each module. Here we have then the history of our recorded debit notes. Another of the functionalities that also includes our localization is, in this case, we are going to use, for example, a purchase document, a purchase invoice. We have already preloaded our supplier. Go to indicate that this invoice, we are doing the recognition of a lease invoice, and we have also included what is the application of withholdings on the products to be, or the items, in this case a service item to be invoiced. Here we are indicating that for this line would correspond to a withholding of 6%, which in this case, well, we have the corresponding field. I have already indicated it. And if we see, well, the information that would be generated with this line in motion would be the following. At the accounting level, well, here we are making the charge of our lease expense, the VAT calculation associated with this same transaction, and we see the deduction of the withholding tax of this same transaction. Here we are calculating the 6% based on to our service item that we have reported, and the recognition of the account payable, taking into account the previous lines. In this way then, we will have control and management of all withholdings and traceability of the information associated with the processes that are being recorded. Included in our solution, we also find the registration or the recognition of purchase tickets. In this case, therefore, we are going to proceed to make a new record. Here we will select then, in the header of the document, we will find this option, which is the purchase ticket, which corresponds to the purchase ticket. Well, all these fields, it is important to mention it, will be read in Spanish at the moment of implementing the tool. Implement the tool. Let's go for a moment and look at our processed purchase invoice history. Here we can see that there is the marking, and we are going to have at all times identified the documents that have been generated as a purchase invoice. And in this way, we will visualize the line to report when we are consulting or generating reports associated with purchase books. In the menu of our location, we will find the generation of the different reports and reports that are required, as they are the balance of 8 columns, the generation of the certificates of retention to our suppliers, in which it goes 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 to our suppliers. To our suppliers, which will contain in the range of time that is consulted all the information associated with the various transactions with the amounts withheld. The withholding ledger, which will contain again all the information associated with the transactions that have already been recorded. And the sales ledger and the purchase ledger. Generally speaking, that would be our location. If you have any questions or inquiries, please do not hesitate to contact us. Thank you.